PikaPals versus KillerApp. I'm going to be on commentary. I'm Mythical9, and I'm joined by Slim Kirby. How are you doing?
I am doing pretty good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to see more Zelda Randomizer in action.
Yeah, me too. This tournament has been absolutely incredible, and I'm really looking forward to see how both these players will attempt this seed. Both very out there players in the Link to the Past rando community. I've seen them many times in the previous tournament and this tournament, and this should be a really good match.
KillerApp jumping out to a little bit of a lead thanks to his thrown projectile of choice being the signpost, dealing a little bit more damage than the bushes that PikaPals opted for. Very minor thing, but that's what's separating them at the moment.
And we got a fairy in the bottle inside the chest inside Uncle Cave.
KillerApp making sure to kill those guards, perhaps trying to get a sense of the randomized prize packs. Rewarded with 20 rupees. That's going to help out in the early game. They do have 3 bombs waiting for them in the Sanctuary chest there, so that's going to help them out a lot with Kakariko, which is where both of them seem to be going.
Yeah, and there's a lot of very early rupee hoard locations in Kakariko, so that should probably get them up to at least 100 for the bottle vendor, and I'm sure they'll probably find some rupees here as well.
PikaPals sees a bomb drop from an enemy that he kills and says, "Nope, I want that." Goes back for it. 4 is gonna get him through Mini Moldorm Cave as well.
And in the Lumberjack Cave, we just have a bomb capacity upgrade, so they're probably not going to be killing Aghanim for just that, but Aghanim is still on the table, at least for right now.
Mushroom location just going to be 5 blue rupees, and I'm pretty sure KillerApp didn't check the Lumberjack item, so dodging a bit of a bullet there.
I'm actually wondering if he intentionally skipped it or not, because there are times when I kind of walk past that and almost forget, oh, I was supposed to go up here.
I've seen some players opt to or at least think about playing around with the idea of maybe not checking it just because it's so rare that it actually has something you need.
That is very true. I just like having the intel and just knowing for sure if I'm going to have to take down Aghanim or not.
Yeah, if there is something up there, you don't know it, and your opponent does, it is a huge, huge disadvantage, possibly even a race-losing situation. So it's a lot. It's a lot to give up, even though it can be really tempting to save those seconds.
Yeah, definitely.
Flippers waiting, along with the mirror. What else does Kakariko have? The lantern. Keep it coming.
Whoa.
Keep it coming. Wow, tons of items suddenly available. Mind racing.
Yeah, 3 very nice items to get there. Wow, that was an incredible room right there.
Our tracker today is Zolt, I believe. Did I get? I really want to make sure I get that right.
Yes.
Bolt. I used the wrong weird letter at the start. Volt is going to be our tracker today. And a lot of work to grab all those things. Hey, how about one more? Kina Samari at the bottom of the Kakariko well.
Kakariko is paying out big time so far. Even throw a nice little bug net on top of that just in case.
So these are all great items, but kind of like on their own and even put together, don't immediately open up too much. Probably the lantern, I think, is going to be the most useful thing they've found in the near future.
Yeah, the lantern will give them some sight in all the darkroom areas. Doesn't necessarily open too much up, but they will be pretty good for the mid to late game, I'm sure. And if they are looking for something, I'd definitely be on the lookout for that Dark World Access trio pack of the hammer, power gloves, and the moon pearl.
Yeah, for sure. I found that bottle earlier. Is it going to enable anything from bottle? Nope. Sick kid got nothing.
Just a little bit of the sick kid's heart, which is kind of creepy when you think about it, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, maybe he wouldn't be so sick if he wasn't giving away parts of his essence.
Yeah, but he seemed awake enough when we left, so we'll leave it at that, I guess.
You know, he'll be fine. Another piece of heart on top of the library, not going to be a big concern for our players. KillerApp's going to be the first one to check the race game. More pieces of hearts. And PikaPals knows he's pretty low on rupees and bombs, is going to use his one bomb that he picked up to blow open the hut in the bottom left corner of Kakariko and store up on some bombs, whereas KillerApp, down to 0, can't really head down to Mini Moldarm, so other options now, floundering a bit, heading up, heading down, taking damage.
Yeah, kind of running out of bombs at that point is not always great, but I guess he's going to take his chances right here. Maybe he might get lucky and find something at the dam, but after that he's going to have to maybe go buy some bombs or just take a different route altogether.
Yeah, you don't want to give up on Mini Moldarm Cave this early. But heading over to Desert, checking the ledge, Agana's Cave is an option. And if you get really lucky and find the book at some point, you can actually start to maybe make progress through Desert Palace.
Yeah, there are still a lot of possibilities for sure. But a lot of those early locations do require bombs in some way. Like even Agana's Cave, you do need a bomb for that as well.
Oh yeah, that is a good point. You can get inside, but after that you need to bomb open the cracked wall. Bombos is waiting in the dam, and that's cool. That's pretty cool, but not going to be solving this bomb problem KillerApp has.
Using the Cane of Samaria, though, as a weapon, that is actually one weapon that I think a lot of people kind of forget about. That you can actually use that to destroy some enemies, and it does a pretty good job.
Yeah, it's a little awkward to use, to be sure. You find yourself hoisting blocks over your head rather than attacking enemies sometimes, but PikaPals knows as well the power of the Cane of Samaria, putting it to work against the Mini Moldarms instead of these precious bombs.
Yeah, you can almost snowball it a little bit too and kind of push it into enemies as well, so I find it very useful.
PikaPals able to get into Mini Moldarm and is getting just lots of nothing. A lot of arrows, heart container.
Yeah, with how full Kakariko seem to be, though, I guess I'm not too surprised that cave is not showing us a lot today, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
Rough start for KillerApp, down to half a heart dealing with guards with this Cane of Samaria. Also low on magic, so not going to be able to continue using it for too much longer. This is a really rough situation to be in.
Yeah, thankfully there is some health here in Sashrala's hut, so you'll be able to restock on that at the very least.
And then no bombs, so unable to open the back wall. This totally sucks for KillerApp.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling to be very low on bombs, especially this early in an open scene.
So Lamp could be leading them to some of the areas of escape. It could be leading them to some of the areas of Eastern Palace, logic-wise. And it looks like KillerApp's going to be exploring one of those options in Eastern Palace right now.
Yeah, we definitely won't be seeing a lot of the very early kind of, maybe not necessarily sequence breaking, but logic breaking tricks. Like, we're not going to see any lampless rooms, we're not going to see fake flippers or anything. This is just the vanilla progression through the logic at this point.
Yeah, that's true. They found both of those items before those opportunities presented themselves. Maybe if they find boots, we'll see a hover. I don't know if PikaPals or KillerApp is any good with that. PikaPals swimming over to the hobo under the bridge. Not going to find anything there.
Nope, just a heart container, which is nice, but definitely looking for progression.
Nothing yet in the first chest in Eastern for Killer App. And where's Pika going? Did not check the dam.
Yeah, Pika hasn't gone to the dam yet, and we'll probably see the Moldorm Cave as well, and probably the Ice Cave too, I imagine. Oh wait, no.
We saw the mini Moldorm.
We did see that.
I don't know. I can't remember if we went all the way up to ice over there, but
I think Pika did actually. I think he just skipped this.
So it could be combining this with a play over to desert.
Probably, yeah. That's most likely what's going to happen.
Killer App finding a compass, still on the lookout for more items here in Eastern. Hoping that whatever he wants is not locked behind the Armos Knights that can't be defeated yet without the bow. Well, you can't get there without the bow.
That just means the bow's going to be in this last chest.
Wouldn't that be sweet? Just enough magic to take out the Roper.
Yeah, I've noticed we haven't actually gotten a map check yet, at least according to the tracker anyway, so...
Don't think I've seen one, yeah.
According to the music, though, this is a pendant dungeon for Eastern, so... if he is unable to, if he does get all the items and maybe not beat the Armos, it's okay, because it is pendant, but... what did we get at Agonos?
We had the Power Glove. Basically, in either that chest that Killer App just opened, or the big chest, I guess, in Eastern, or where Pika was, very likely to find a progression item. I guess there's still Escape to check, and a couple other weird places, I guess, with the flippers, but they were running out of places to check. Something had to give, something had to pop up somewhere, and PikaPals is the one to find it. Power Glove and a very out-of-the-way location in Agonon's Cave.
Yes, this will allow him to go up to Death Mountain. A few locations there. Tower of Hera, except for one item there, potentially is open. So yeah, I can definitely understand this play.
Well, that's right. The mirror, in combination with Lantern to get through these dark rooms, is going to be able to get them all the way up Death Mountain without the hammer or the hook shot. Can't get to that eastern area though.
Okay, it looks like the old man is going to be giving the Fire Rod. Okay, that will allow them to complete Hera, so if there is something in that basement, that will be taken care of.
Also another combat option if you're not feeling like the Cane of Samaria is working for you.
Yeah, very true.
I believe the character PikaPals is playing as is Cerno the Fairy from the Toho games. I think that was a sword there.
Yes, I think that was. I think I saw that as well. So, alright, that's our primary attacking weapon that won't require the use of magic or any ammo.
Yeah, it's always a relief to find a sword in these open seeds.
Yeah, sometimes you get stuck with those seeds where you have to wait until like the 50 or even past the hour mark to get one, so I bet their PikaPals is really happy to see that.
Zora Ledge is just a bottle, and without the rupees to pay King Zora, Killer App's got no reason to be up in Zora's domain. The save and quit out, and now lots of places to check and maybe recheck. There was some chests missed on the way to Eastern. There was, of course, the mini Moldorm cave. But Killer App's going to Desert.
Which is the correct play, because that is where he'll find the Power Gloves, which is definitely a very good progression item to have right now.
As PikaPals is some kind of frog thing.
Yeah, I wasn't really quite sure what that is either, but just some bombs and Spectacle Rock, and now we're going to go inside the Tower of Hera.
Oh yeah, I never really put it together, but that sword actually enables them to finish Hera, because Moldorm can only be harmed with either a sword or the hammer.
Oh, that is very true, yeah. So, definitely pointing towards Hera as the next progression with both the sword and the fire rod.
Game Samaria activating all these switches. Pika, you've got a sword now. You don't have to do that.
He just got so used to it, he wanted to keep on using it.
It's not often you have the Cane of Samaria before a sword. You want to play around with it at least a little.
Yeah, that is very true, and it's also a very fun item to use, especially against bosses like Blind that can be harmed by it.
Where's KillerApp off to now? Could go to Death Mountain, but is heading east. So we're going to see another divergence here.
And a divergence that will lead us to some new items, too. So, let's see what we got inside the escape sewer area.
Oh, the bow is up in Hera.
Yes, nice. Okay, that will take PikaPals to Eastern, and he will be able to fully clear that. It is a pendant, but there is something on those Armos Knights, I believe.
And meanwhile, KillerApp finding treasures of their own in the back end of Escape, Moon Pearl, and a sword waiting in those 3 chests.
Oh, wow. Nice.
This is a really interesting sort of imbalance the two players have in their items and where the things they found might lead them. Like if KillerApp finds a hammer in here, for example, he's probably going to be going totally different places than PikaPals.
Yeah, for sure. This seed is definitely, it seems like it has like 2 paths. It's going to be interesting to see how it'll kind of merge out into one path somewhere down the line.
For now, PikaPals' path takes them through Moldarm with just the fighter sword. You're going to have to be a little honest here. No 2 shots with the butter sword or whatever. You're going to have to earn it. Sword out, holding inwards to not get knocked back, but if Moldarm comes at you diagonally, you can find yourself knocked down. Ooh, holding on. Last hit.
And he gets them, alright. Ooh, flute.
Alright, more interesting things found by both these players. KillerApp now following PikaPals' trail up Death Mountain, probably going to be finding all the same items that PikaPals just did, so perhaps we're not going to end up with this very interesting split path.
Yeah, I guess at this point, the only thing that would really encourage that split path is if there's something inside the normal escape sequence. But yeah, it kind of looks like the Death Mountain play is the play that they wanted them to go at the whole time.
So PikaPals coming out of Sanctuary and, yep, is heading east, very likely about to drop down and find all those same goodies that KillerApp just found.
So this will actually give PikaPals the Master Sword, which means that will officially open up the Aghanim battle. So I guess the question is, I guess there's not really a whole lot left except just Escape that we know of at this point. So yeah, it's wondering when exactly that Aghanim play, if needed, will be made.
Yeah, they've cleared out Hera. And they can't get... Well, Flute and Mirror is going to enable them to get into Desert.
They don't have the Titan's Myth, though, so they can't open the portal.
Yep, you're right. Absolutely right. So yeah, dungeon-wise, they're looking a little stuck. That they might need to kill Aghanim just for the Dark World portal.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But there are still those chests in Vanilla Escape. I'm wondering if there's something there. At that point, yeah, it might be could be a point to start doing that, making that Aghanim call.
KillerApp picking up the Master Sword and successfully bomb jumping across, saving a bit of time.
PikaPals is looking to activate his flute.
Question from chat. KillerApp has been to Eastern and found, I think, all the items that Eastern has, mostly rupees.
Yeah, I don't 100% remember if they got every item or not. I think KillerApp probably did.
Because he had the big key, but wait, no, he found the big key in the first chest, so he did check that. So maybe there's another item left there. I think it's likely that PikaPals is gonna find out for us. Has yet to be to Eastern Palace at all yet, but is opting to head to escape, like you pointed out.
Yeah, I think that's the play Pika's probably going to make, and at that point, I wouldn't be surprised to see an Aghanim play after that. I know he has a lot of stuff to check over in that Eastern Palace area, but at this point, you are in Hyrule Castle. It could be just a calculated gamble at this point.
I don't know if we've had a map check yet from either player, but we know it is a pendant, so that also might influence PikaPals in a decision to kind of stay away from Eastern.
Yeah, then if he does want to check it, he can check it with his combined effort of checking that and Palace of Darkness at the same time.
KillerApp picking up the bow in Tower of Hera. Going to be very happy to see that. The question from chat, where was Bo?
There it is.
Good timing. Alright, KillerApp's Moldrum fight, a little easier with the Master Sword. Going to be dealing a lot more damage. We'll see how this goes. Sword spins as well, I think, dealing extra damage with the Master Sword, whereas I think it doesn't with the Fighter Sword.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Oh, but gets that diagonal bump at the end there and gets knocked down.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Trolldorm being true to his name today, it seems like.
PikaPals calling in the duck and fluting to 5, so we're going to see some of that eastern area of the map.
I guess I can understand this play just because there are potential 6 items here, so may want to check those before making the full play on Aghanim.
KillerApp finished with Moldorm, picks up the flute and a crystal.
And in Sashrella's Hut, we do get the mushroom and the hook shot. That opens up more of Death Mountain.
Oh man, KillerApp came here before Pika and just didn't have a bomb to open the wall. It would have been totally different to have the hook shot when he was up on Death Mountain.
Before we go into Death Mountain, PikaPals is going to turn in the mushroom. Honestly, not a very quick check you can do. Even if it is a fetch quest item, it's right there on flute point number 2, so it's very easy to take care of.
Gonna be just 20 rupees. Just a good old-fashioned drug deal going down.
So yeah, heading back to Death Mountain, again, I can completely understand at this point, Eastern is pendant, and this will open, not just that, 8 items. And then the potential to also get some intel on the floating island as well.
Yep, lots of goodies to be waiting just over this bridge here that the hookshot can carry you across. KillerApp's got the flute unlocked. Checking in on Sick Kid.
Yeah, I guess he forgot that he checked that.
He was just concerned about him.
That's true. He did take a piece of his heart, I guess, so...
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure that it grew back.
Yeah.
So I think KillerApp is finally going to tick Mini Moldorm Cave off the list as PikaPals is opening up fresh new items for us. Nothing yet. Oh,
Just a cave full of hearts and rupees.
yeah, a big red bust over there on Death Mountain, but we're not quite done yet.
Getting that bomb jump successfully, which is a really nice bomb jump to get. It saves a little bit of time, but still, it's nice not having to go take that loop around the bottom section of Death Mountain.
It's possible to have the logic create seeds where different amounts of glitches are required, you know, minor glitches, major glitches, but this is no glitches mode, so the logic won't ever require players to do things like delete blocks or fake flippers, do rooms in the dark, things like that. I guess that's not really a minor glitch, but
yeah, they definitely give advantages, but you don't have to do them in order to progress through the game. Every seed has basically a nice little line of logic that you have to progress through and obtain all the items.
Cave and Spiral Cave both coming up empty for PikaPals. That hookshot ended up not really doing much.
Yeah, so unfortunately this will lead him back to Eastern, which as we know, will not really yield anything, so it looks like the Aghanim may actually be happening here. And KillerApp is going back to Eastern. Maybe we didn't see all the items here. Maybe there is one last one that he wants to check with Armos, or maybe Armos is the green pendant and we just didn't see.
I did catch a glimpse at the map. It is the red pendant, so that's not why we're here. I think it is. I think it's indeed one more item left on Armos, and it was on us that we missed it. Players know. Players know what they're doing. Usually.
Yeah, having a good count on your items as you're going through a dungeon is a very good strategy to have. That way, at the very end, if you have them all before you get to the end, you can start skipping chests, and then if it's a dungeon you don't have to do, you can just leave before you even comb the whole dungeon. So it's definitely one thing you want to start getting in the habit of doing when going through these seeds.
Hookshot can enable a nice little shortcut for PikaPals going straight across the gap. Of a shortcut as having already gone through a big chunk of the dungeon, though.
Yeah.
The runners have taken very different routes to get here. Well, I mean, they've been largely to the same places, but at different times. But here they are, very close to each other in Eastern Palace.
Yeah, that's right. Despite the divergence, it has kind of weaved them back into this location, mainly just to try to find some kind of item that will tell them, okay, I don't have to do Aghanim, but at this point, it's just, I believe, just the Armos Knights, or even the Zora that has an item at this point.
Oh yeah, this seed has been very devoid of rupees. PikaPals up to 163, KillerApp only at 55. If King Zora is holding the item that they need, they're going to have to dig for it. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, to see the players head to the well, I think KillerApp's already passed it, but the rupee room here in Eastern Palace, there's, what, 90 rupees?
Yeah, something like that. There is a nice chunk of rupees in that dark room to the right, in that first later dark room. I was actually kind of surprised to see KillerApp skip that, especially considering that he's had such a problem with getting rupees in this particular run. So we'll see if PikaPals employs that strategy.
Not going to see an Armos quick kill. Accidentally plugged that the one with 2 shots with the third to finish it off. You want to kind of leave it straggling and then get like a double kill at the end. But still a very clean fight. Otherwise, KillerApp finishing off Armos and not getting anything, pretty sure. Red pendant.
Yep, only got a piece of heart. So I imagine at this point, since I don't think he's checked the other Death Mountain stuff yet, that's probably where he's going next. But after that, looks like it might be Aghanim time. I don't know if I'd want to risk farming rupees just for Zora and then have it not pay out.
Yeah, this is a tough choice. Do an entire Aghanim Tower, or farm up all those rupees for King Zora. I think you're right. I think the scales tip towards Aghanim being the way to go. But both of those things are not really a thing you want to do when you're in a race.
Yeah, for sure. No one wants to do it at that point. It's just kind of like, am I just avoiding the inevitable, or do I just want to take one last chance and just hope all the grinding will pay off? And I just don't have a good feeling that it will.
PikaPals Armos fight, getting away from him a little bit, still trying to salvage it by trying to find that double kill, even though they're all in a line. Didn't quite get it, so just opts to finish them rapid fire. That's Eastern Palace done for Pika, as KillerApp is clearing out some of these Eastern Death Mountain locations that we've already seen. It's going to be decision time soon for our two players.
And PikaPals has the flutes, and he is... Oh, he's going to... Oh, okay, he's going to... I guess he hasn't checked this... And I thought he did, though.
This could be Ice Palace. They've got the Flippers and Bombos.
They don't have the Titans.
Oh, no Titans again. Oh man, those glove upgrades always catch me up.
I've done that too, so no worries. It happens.
So Waterfall Cave, unchecked. I guess PikaPals didn't want to come up this way without the rupees, and too many locations easily checked to pass up on it now. We know, however, PikaPals is going to be pretty disappointed with this.
If they do decide they want to grind some rupees, one thing they could do, since I don't think either of them have done it yet, they could employ the Houlihan Room strat, but I don't know. I still think at this point Aghanim might just be the way to go.
Let's see if PikaPals agrees, starting at Link's house.
Yeah, looks like he's heading up that way.
It took a moment to stare at the menu and think, which of these can be my best option for combat, going through a lot of these forced fights.
It's had that full magic bar, so Fire Rod could actually be very, very helpful in this area.
Maybe Pika's familiar with some of the no major glitches strats for Aghanim's Tower.
It looks like KillerApp is making the same play as well, so we are going to have a double Aghanim Tower now. No one is going to be going for any rupees here.
And if you look at the tracker, very, very equal on both sides. I'm trying to think of places that maybe KillerApp hasn't got to yet, because there were some struggles in the early game. So I feel like Pika should be ahead by a little more than it appears at this moment, but I think KillerApp probably checked all the same things.
I feel like I only saw one of them check the main escape items.
Oh, I think you're right. I think that's the difference I'm looking for.
So yeah, I think that probably is it, because KillerApp did have to revisit a few places because of his lack of bombs.
So they've got Blue Mail and Master Sword. That's going to help them a lot through a lot of these rooms. PikaPal down to 6.5 hearts, and I think is probably going to be okay past a lot of the scary stuff so far.
Yeah, and their max health is like over or the first line. They are in the second row of hearts now, which I feel like you don't really see like that often, at least in this point of the game in the seed. So yeah, they have a lot of defense at their disposal at this point.
Opting with pot strats to deal with some of these guards is PikaPals. KillerApp also has that Fire Rod out. Wow, the Fire Rod got deflected by a spear. Alright. Well done, Hyrule Guard. KillerApp is out of magic, so gonna have to resort to other methods like those pots to deal with these guards. Pots, I think, do 4 damage.
Yes, I believe so. Okay, so we are in the Aghanim fight. Since the last tournament, because I believe in the previous tournament they didn't actually have the blue ball attacks on Aghanim, but they did add them back in to the randomizer a few versions later. And one unique thing about that is both racers, if they're racing the same seed, they will experience the same RNG with the blue balls. So if PikaPals gets 3 blue balls, KillerApp will also get 3 blue balls, if assuming they finish on the same attack anyway.
Yep, that is absolutely right. It was crappy to have, you know, this random element be such a big factor in races, so it was taken out for that reason. But then people said, this is the randomizer and we're removing randomness? That doesn't seem right. So they're like, all right, we'll put the randomness back in, but it'll be equal for both players. And now we all get to play the game of how many blue balls are they going to get.
That's true. It didn't seem like there were that many, because PikaPals is already done with the fight.
I think it was 3, but I always lose track of these things.
Yeah, during that fight, it's just like, I just want to finish him off. I don't really want to count right now.
Either way, Aghanim defeated Sword Upgrade on the Pyramid. Not going to pass that up.
Definitely not.
And so now we need to get around the Dark World in some pretty interesting ways, because we do not have the hammer.
That's right. They do have the hookshot and flippers, so they can very easily get to the other side of the Dark World, but PikaPal's opting to go to Palace of Darkness. Honestly, not a bad call. He's not going to run into the problem of being bow-locked, and I find going into Pod without the hammer isn't too big of a problem, because at the very least, after you get the last chest, you mirror out anyway and go back through the area, and you need the hammer for the later areas, so they could just leave that for a quick clear later on if they do find the hammer at a later point in time.
Saw that map check for a while. All I really caught was that Crystal 5 was down at Ice Palace in its vanilla location. I think. Yeah.
Chad is also reacting to a Pendant Thieves Town as well.
Oh, yeah. With limited options. Speaking of which, by the way, KillerApp has opted for one of the other options that they have at this moment. Took the flipper hookshot route over to this northern and then followed by western areas of the Dark World, whereas Pika is, like we said, already headed into Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, this could really pay off, assuming that there is nothing here in Palace of Darkness. But on the flip side, if Pod has the progression, then PikaPals will be at a slight advantage. So it kind of just comes down to which of these plays will be more rewarding.
Yeah, the players have been very close up to this point, and it looks like, just based off of their decisions here, that one of them very likely to pull ahead of the other. Especially if the thing they find is something like the hammer.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing on the Graveyard Ledge for KillerApp. Nothing yet in Palace of Darkness.
Hammer and mitts will definitely open up a lot. I find a lot of items and dungeon areas are blocked off by the hammer, but then there's just some places you can't even get to without the Titan's mitts, so that'll be a very nice thing to get as well.
A rather ambiguous item found in Palace of Darkness is the powder. Opens up one location that they can't really get to just yet in the Magic Bat.
Yeah, it opens up that one location, and it does open up the possibilities for fairies if they find that they actually do need them or want to use them.
Oh, sure. Definitely dungeons like Turtle Rock are rife with anti-fairies and lots of things that like to take away your hearts.
Yeah, for sure.
So KillerApp opting to dive into Skull Woods here before Village of Outcasts or any of that goodness.
Not a bad play. There's only 2 potential items here. They also have the fire rod, so they can complete it as well. And you can generally find the items pretty quickly, and then if you find them early enough, you can just skip the rest of it and go straight for the boss area.
Gonna be just a compass so far for KillerApp.
Chat, if there has been a map check, they've been very, very quick. We've been trying to take advantage of any time we see the map.
Looks like we're gonna get a bomb jump from PikaPals. Nope, just kidding. I got excited. Just being efficient by blowing open that wall from the other side. Ether Medallion found in Skull Woods. We don't know either dungeon requirement yet, but it's nice to have. Yeah,
for sure. When you have 2 medallions, there is definitely a good possibility that you may not need the 3rd one, but it's still always nice to get all 3 if you can find them.
Here's another reason to go to Palace of Darkness. The basement is filled with lots of money. PikaPal's up to 392 rupees now.
I wonder if that factor actually kind of played into their decision to come here, because, yeah, they were just not having any rupees whatsoever at the beginning of this seed.
PikaPals is pretty far along in Palace of Darkness now, approaching the point where that hammer is going to be required.
And if it's not in here, you can just mirror out, mirror back to Light World, and then fly over to... Oh, yeah, I can fly to the house. Oh, the book.
That's something that's going to open up... Well, it opens up desert. But also with the sword upgrades they have, there's some tablets they can check.
And it'll also allow us to see if there is anything on the pedestal. They did clear Eastern Palace, so they have one of the pendants already, so maybe worthwhile to check that as well, probably when Pika decides to go to Skull Woods, which might be the next play that we have right here.
KillerApp contending with some of these Gibdos, using sword spins.
I did see that the right side of Dark World there was all crystals, so if there are any pendants, they're going to be on the left side of Dark World, which Thieves Town, as we know, is already one, and probably one of the other left-hand ones as well.
Yeah, we've got the music for Skull Woods. I'm pretty sure that was Dark World music. So not Skull Woods, maybe Meyer. We've got a Mothula fight from KillerApp. Mothula's just sticking to this corner. Get out of the corner. Can't deal damage to Mothula as long as it touches the spikes.
Thankfully, with Tempered Sword does a lot of damage to Mothula. It's just a few strikes, so was able to finish that up pretty well, even despite the spike difficulty there.
PikaPals is on their way through this northern Dark World section.
And according to chat, it looks like Desert is also another pendant, so we at least know where all the pendants and crystals are now at this point.
So the book maybe not as exciting a find?
Not really, but, well, yeah. Because they can, once they find the myths, they can get into Desert that way. But who knows, maybe the myths are in Desert Palace.
It could be. You never know. Ooh, PikaPal's Murderdactyl's coming for him, down to 4 hearts, gonna be okay.
Ooh, found one of the 300 rupee drops, though, up there on Bumper Cave. Unfortunately, do not have a way to get that at this point.
Yeah, that is actually some primo money for KillerApp. Has not been to Palace of Darkness to pick up all those rupees, so still very short of the 500 required for King Zora. Not to mention, you know, the treasure chest game, digging game. Well, 50 more. That'll get you going.
Yeah, he'll at least be taken care of for the mini games we have here in Dark World, but still probably thinking about that Zora at some point. But who knows? They might be close to Go mode or already in Go mode by the time they actually get to that mini again. So may not be a concern at the moment, especially with so many other places to check.
I think the decision first and foremost in KillerApp's mind is, do I go Independent Thieves Town? It looks like the answer is going to be yes. For easily checked chests here in the front half of Thieves Town. As PikaPals is going through Skull Woods, very similar routing choice as KillerApp.
So without that hammer, unfortunately, they're going to be unable to get the last chest in Thieves Town. So I bet KillerApp is really hoping that he'll find that hammer in here, or at least hope that he might get those 4 items before he gets to that point.
Small key and compass.
Just the compass.
Gonna have to go all the way in for some of these items here in Thieves Town. Compass you really don't want to see, because it increases the odds that the big chest that you can't get to does have an item.
Yeah, and if they get the map here very soon, that is going to confirm that the last one is going to be an item too.
PikaPals finding the map of different dungeon, Skullwoods, but with that, that's a mirror out. Not quite done here in Skullwoods, but will be soon. KillerApp has no boots, so gonna have to do the hell way, the old-fashioned way. Navigated pretty smoothly. Again, the players are pretty well off defensively. That's been a very healthy seed. Lots of hearts, and Blue Mail Tempered Sword gonna go a long way. Can Hammer be in Pedestal? Eastern Desert and Thieves Town being pendants. In this situation, I think it can be.
Yes, I believe in this situation it can be. Highly unlikely just because it gates so much, but it can happen. It can definitely happen.
It'd definitely be the first I've heard of it. If that's what we end up with today. Wow, PikaPals with a great Mothula fight. I think it was just 4 clean hits.
Oh yeah, that was a really good fight.
And that is the Quake medallion. All 3 medallions collected, so requirements for Mire and Turtle Rock rather not going to be a problem. Question from chat, do they have the mitts? No, they do not.
Oh, they do now! KillerApp does!
Thank you, Thieves Town. That is a really big find for KillerApp. Oh, PikaPals, he's got the book. What's in it? Yeah.
Nothing of major note, just a capacity upgrade, I believe.
Alright, well, we've got a blind fight over on the right side of the screen. Baker's job is a piece of cake. Just slashing like crazy. Pretty sure that still
like
was
that joke.
Didn't quite land that 3rd hit in time with those slashes, so it's kind of off the script that you want to be on in this fight, because Blind is a very predictable boss, assuming that you are equally predictable. It still is a very good fight, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even if Blind gets to the very bottom row, which a lot of players don't want because it means 1 extra cycle, but like, it's still... I never like fighting Blind. I want to just get him done as soon as possible.
So I wasn't paying close enough attention, but I don't think I saw KillerApp grab the map, so I think the big chest might have that map.
Yes, I believe so. I did not see the map as well.
So I was going to say Titan's Myth's in hand, but I guess they're on hands for KillerApp. No hammer, but still lots of Dark World to check now.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh. Chat reporting map was grabbed, so there is indeed something in that big chest.
Gonna check and see what's in the digging game now.
I don't know what the upper bound is on... Wow, okay, we got an ice rod. Digging game giving us the one of the keys for Turtle Rock, basically. I was about to say I don't know what the upper bound is on digs required to unearth an item, but I wonder if it can get like really close to the end of the timer, and so you actually have to be very efficient with your digging in order to actually get the item.
I believe it picks a random number between 1 and 30. And yeah, it can get really, really close. I've definitely had a dig, and pretty consistently digging too, like at the 2-second mark, so you really have to be, you don't want to dawdle around when you're doing that, basically.
The Dwarven Breadsmith has been returned home safely, as PikaPals has headed into Thieves Town, so that Titan's Myth's not going to go unfound all too long for Pika.
And Titan's Myth is just great to have in general. Like, it is nice to have the hammer too, because that'll open a lot more of the Dark World portals, but I feel like the Dark World portal that's north of Kakariko is probably the easiest accessible, and you only need the mitts for that, and that kind of allows you to check a bunch of different areas and get there from a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, no hammer for KillerApp means skipping the hammer pegs for now, but still going to be able to do a lot of hit a lot of these spots in this Dark World sweep here. Purple chest in tow, heading up to the Haunted Grove Cave.
Yeah, last tournament we had the Froggy World Tour. This year we have the Purple Chest World Tour. So
not quite as exciting. Not many people come out when you just cart a box on stage and set it down.
Yeah, I believe it'd be a very, very quiet traveling companion for Link 2.
We're finally going to get a look at Hype Cave.
Just wondering if it's going to be as hype as the Kakariko Greenhouse was, because that seemed more like the Hype Cave in this seed anyway.
Yeah, that was something. Flippers, lamp, and what was the other one that got them? The mirror, yeah.
Hammer!
That's already hype enough. Half magic, red boomerang are maybe not quite on the tier of hammer, but they're not bad, and hammer, boy, is that a good find.
Oh, for sure. Oh, man, that's going to open up so much now.
I really wish that everyone's like, hype, 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 red boomerang, yes!
I don't know, there are some people who really do love the red boomerang, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Those people who get stuck with one of those swordless seeds for a long time, and it's just them and the red boomerang versus the world.
Yes.
You can build a bond with items that way.
It is actually kind of interesting now, because barring like a few like potential places where items could be, and desert is technically not required, so Honestly, it looks like we might be in go mode, maybe. Because, like, I'm looking at what we have left here. I don't see any, like, major stickouts except for the boots.
Yeah, I mean, there's always that 1 in 22 or whatever it is that the big key is on the torch in Ganon's tower.
Yeah, and that's like the only thing I can think of at this point.
I think you're right. No silvers yet, so they might still be influenced to be opening chests, perhaps.
Yeah, for sure. And there's definitely a good system they can employ where, like, while you're going through a dungeon, if there happens to be a chest in the room, you can just very quickly check that and open that or something. And I think our runners are pretty familiar with silverless strats, and Tempered is definitely good enough to get them through that with relatively little difficulty if they know how to do it.
Yeah, these guys are both 2 and 1, I think. So you're right, they're definitely at that level where I think they'll be familiar enough with Silverless Ganon. I guess we'll get a sense of what KillerApp's thinking as he goes through Ice Palace here, because, you know, doing this in Go mode is quite a bit different than doing it otherwise.
Yeah, for sure.
We are going to be seeing a bomb jump here. Pixel looking for it, gets it at the last moment. So PikaPals did dig in game and is now going to be doubling back for the frog. And that's probably going to send him on the exact same path that KillerApp took. It's going to end somewhere around Hype Cave, and that's going to be the hammer, and from there, it's the same sort of mostly go mode.
Yeah, for sure. I think Rick actually gave it in the chat section here, but yeah, 95.5% go mode. Or 95.6, I'm sorry for the 0.1.
No, a very important distinction.
Well, yeah.
So KillerApp, not going to be detouring through Ice Palace for chests, has gone right to the boss. So we're going to have a cold stare fight. Half magic and Bombos and Fire Rod available, so if KillerApp's not feeling like going for the sort of sword spin corral into the corner strat, might opt to just go with the Fire Rod from a distance, be a little more safe. He's got that sword out. Here we go. They escape a little bit. Down to 6 hearts. 3 hearts. Can't take another body hit.
Ooh! Wait, he has a fairy. I think
he
has a fairy, though.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think one of those bottles had the fairy. Okay, we're good. Faux mode. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I hear used to describe this situation, faux mode.
And that's, that was last hit, by the way, required to finish off Cold Stare.
Yeah, those Cloud Puffs, they do a lot of damage, even with Blue Mail, so you have to really, really be careful with those.
Oh, did you guys get the Twitch noise? Sorry, I think that's something to do with... sometimes I think it's on Twitch's end. Some people think it has to do with the audio encoding hiccuping. Anyway, it's twice as bad for us because it can come through the player stream and ours. But our apologies, not really anything we can do to fix it. Anyway, PikaPals opening up Hype Cave, gonna be finding that hammer, gonna be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, being in that faux mode state, like, just before the hour mark is huge. Like, just knowing that you can go mode so many of the upcoming dungeons like Swamp Palace, it's just a really, really good feeling. Speaking of which, I think that's exactly what we're seeing from KillerApp right here, and probably even PikaPals as well.
Yep, don't be led astray by how close this race appears. KillerApp does have an entire Ice Palace under their belt. How long is it? Do you think does it take to get all the way over to Ice Palace and finish it in go mode? Like 2.5, 3 minutes?
Yeah, I'd say like 3-4 minutes, something like that.
It's not insurmountable, but it's going to be tough for PikaPals.
Yeah, I think the difference right now is just the fact that Pod didn't really pay out that much at all. Well, didn't really pay out. We didn't get anything of major note from that. So, I mean, the powder, but that's about it. So, checking all those chests in Pod, I think definitely put KillerApp a little bit ahead right now. But again, with the uncertainty of what's on that Ganon's torch, we can't really say it's a definite lead at this point.
So we know Pod is a crystal now. How much of what PikaPals has done counts for time that he'll kind of be picking up once both runners have done with Pod?
I think he'll catch up a little bit. It all depends on where that big key was, which I honestly cannot remember at this time. Because that big key hunt in Palace of Darkness can take you everywhere.
So that's a pretty interesting thing that we'll be keeping an eye out for. Because it could mean PikaPals is quite a bit behind, could mean PikaPals is not even behind at all.
That's true, that is very true. Because PikaPals, I believe, was the first one to enter the Dark World after the Aghanim fight, so yeah, depending on how long KillerApp's Pod visit's going to be, that's going to determine who is going to be in the lead after all of that.
KillerApp has decided to open a couple chests here in Swamp that are pretty close by.
Boots!
Finds the shovel wall, Pika gets the boots!
I think we can officially say that PikaPals is in go mode now.
Yep.
I think everything is taken care of at this point.
And KillerApp just a couple seconds behind in Swamp Palace, also in go mode. Got ourselves an Argus fight, starting on the left, about to start on the right. PikaPals is doing a pretty good job. This is going to be an easy one cycle. Except for this last puff, having a bit of trouble with it. We'll see how KillerApp does. Pika going for these sword spins, not bothering to pull out the fire rod to go for the one round at the end, but still very quick. KillerApp going to be doing the same. Gets just dropped right on by this Argus down from the ceiling, down to 6 hearts, but really no danger of dying to Argus at this point. Gets the kill. And that's crystals for both.
I'm just seriously thinking right now, like, if either one of them made the call to go to Aghanim as soon as they found that second sword, like, just imagining how fast this seed would have been.
Yeah, what did they... Eastern had nothing in the end at all, right? And they did that whole thing?
Yeah, Eastern didn't have anything. The hook shot didn't lead to anything back on Death Mountain. Like, they definitely had both swords by that point.
They did have to go up to Hera for the bow, at least.
Yeah, that is true. They did have to do that. But that could have also been done on the first trip, since they had Mirror by that point.
Yeah, this could have been a really, really fast seed. As it is, it's just a regular fast seed.
Yeah, it's still very, very fast, for sure. This is going to be an incredible time at the end of this.
We had a pretty fast seed recently, I know. Players were pushing the sub 130 on that one.
Yeah, I think, and this is just what I was told at the end of one of my matches, is I think the fastest, there has been a sub 120, I think, in this tournament, but not very many, if that's the only one. But that's not the only one.
There's been so many matches I cannot confirm or deny, but I wouldn't be surprised. That about lines up with what we experienced the last tournament we had, though it was a different version of, like a fairly different version of the logic, so
yeah,
maybe not all that comparable.
I find that a lot of people, when talking about version 126, or just version 26, it seems like seeds generally get longer, but still every now and then you'll find that one seed just everything lines up perfectly, and you get a clear, like our players are doing right here, like 3 to 4 to even 5 dungeons in go mode, and that's just, yeah, like that can happen in Randomizer. Just depends on those item placements.
115s posted by Freda and Jigheart. Those are some monster times.
Really, definitely, for sure.
I think ACMLM did a run with a seed that he concocted to be sort of the fastest thing. And I can't remember what time he managed. I don't think it was quite like sub an hour, but like pretty close.
Yeah. So was it just like all items in Kakariko or something?
Yeah, basically. And like the things you didn't need in Kakariko would be like in the dungeons along the way through optimal completion. Right, very nice cold stare fight there, by the way, from PikaPals. Had everything trapped in the corner, just kind of kept him up there, dealt all the damage. As KillerApp is bombing and searching through this Palace of Darkness for this big key. This is what we were talking about earlier. PikaPals doesn't have to do any of this, so all this time the KillerApp is spending looking is time where PikaPals is basically just catching up.
And depending on where he goes right here, yep, he's going to, flute spot number 5, so we'll see who's going to be in the lead at right here, pretty much.
Yeah, KillerApp just found the big key, so he's
and he does have small keys, so yeah, he's going in there. He is ahead at this point, but anything can happen. They still have a lot of dungeons to go through. Well, 2 after this one, and then of course Ganon's Tower as well.
And they're certainly a lot closer than they were.
From what I've watched in other matches, PikaPals does have very, very good execution. I will admit that I haven't seen too many matches from KillerApp23. I'm sure that he has good execution as well, but I think PikaPals is gonna be really booking it here as well.
Yeah, I think I would give the edge in terms of execution to PikaPals, if only based off of the performance in the race. So far, PikaPals' boss kills in particular have been just a little tighter all around.
Did have a little trouble with that beetle though on that ledge. That beetle can troll you a little bit.
Was having trouble dealing with it. Also, kind of fell down in a weird way. Like didn't jump down. Like just kind of walked straight off.
Yeah, I noticed that. That was kind of strange.
And if that didn't happen, he would have been able, like the buzzer beetle wouldn't have been there, would have been able to just go about their day. But yeah, that went out of control just a little bit. And that sucks, because that is the kind of thing that can now be the difference between a win and a loss. That's how close these players are.
Exactly. When you're in go mode like they are right now, like any minor thing can be a major thing. It gets inflated exponentially at this point.
KillerApp going with no sword out to deal with this Helmasaur fight. Having the sword out can extend the hammer hitbox, make this a little easier. Down to 4 hearts. Tempered Sword's going to make this a 4/fight. Does get it down, but cutting it a little close there.
Yeah, I have been noticing KillerApp has definitely taken a little more damage during these boss fights. Does get a bottle of red potion, though, so that'll definitely help if he gets low in the next fight.
We'll see what kind of Helmasaur fight PikaPals has in mind. I feel like they've already made up a fair bit of ground here, just kind of going through Pod again.
Yeah, for sure.
One, two, three, and couldn't quite get the last hit before the fireball bopped him out of the way. But a very good Helmasaur fight from Pika as well.
Yeah, definitely use those iframes to kind of get that last hit while Helmasaur was moving around, so that was nicely done.
Meyer requires Ether, so this is opening the door for the ever-important bird toss technique.
Okay, let's see.
There he is, just frozen and waiting. I mean, if KillerApp knew how close this race was at the moment, I'm pretty sure he would head right on inside. But
yeah, which he is going to do, so probably a good play that he didn't mess with that.
As much as I love to see it, I gotta respect the speed strats.
Yeah, for sure.
Regardless of the naysayers in chat throwing out the Dairy Queens. Come now. Meyer 2, not quite going perfectly for KillerApp, but gets that Wizrobe on the second cycle very quickly.
Okay, let's see if something happens here. I have a feeling it probably won't, but the dream is real.
So of course,
no, yeah,
go mode Meyer all comes down to where's the big key. How about a butter sword?
Looking for a key? Have a butter sword instead. Yeah.
I think our players would probably take silver arrows over butter sword at this point, but you don't get to choose in Randomizer.
Yep, unfortunately not.
Anyway, they like seeing that big golden object, but they're looking for a different one. They want that big key. And where's it gonna be?
Yeah, at this point, just like knowing where all the items have been in this seed, it's hard to think that that for them to think that they're in the lead or even in the lead by much. It's just everything was literally just given to you at the beginning, and then as soon as you got to that after Thieves Town part of Dark World, getting that hammer, just such a quick seed.
Yeah, they also must not be feeling like they're terribly behind either. Like they're making pretty good time, all things considered. So they probably are quite worried about where their opponent is in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. Still have not found that big key yet. There it is, though.
KillerApp's the first one to fight it. PikaPals is going to be clearing out some of these locations on the east side first.
Actually going to check the vanilla big key chest before the other chest. This is going to put distance from KillerApp to PikaPals just because little about 10-second screen transition, maybe even more than that. I don't necessarily time them, but this little transition right here does take some more time.
It feels a lot more than 10 seconds waiting for this cutscene. And this is all time lost compared to KillerApp. Just a compass for PikaPals' troubles.
Now, if that chest ended up being the silver arrows, that would have been a huge, huge development, but unfortunately, just a dungeon item.
That's right, silver arrows still in play. So KillerApp did find the powder, and is going to be opting to put that to use before Vitreous here. Was down to 5 hearts, and I was thinking maybe might be a concern. No silvers, so no free win here on Vitreous as well, with no cape or cane of Berna. But then again, wow, getting bodied twice, already back down to 6 hearts. 3 now, KillerApp. Oh, be still my beating heart. What bottles are left in play here? There's a red potion. Drinking it. Doesn't want a repeat of what happened at Cold Stare, and is going with the sword slash strats now. Getting bodied twice again. KillerApp. Oh, that angle is not good. Down to 3. Cannot get hit by another. Actually charging up the sword spins now. Very afraid of these eyeballs.
Yeah, and Vitreous was like aiming on that right side of the room too, just like trying to get him down, but he does make it through the fight.
Oh man, what a tense fight from KillerApp.
Man, definitely.
Oh, you're gonna want to pick up the crystal. All right, man, KillerApp I think is probably feeling a little shaky after that.
I would too, honestly. Like, if Vitreous gets away from you, yeah, that can be a very stressful fight.
But that is one boss down for KillerApp. One more crystal in hand. Just Turtle Rock left.
I still feel like he's like more ahead than he was from the at the end of the Helmasaur fight anyway. But yeah, like we're just gonna have to see how this execution goes for PikaPals.
After the shaky boss fights, KillerApp detouring first to pick up some potions from the witch as PikaPals is going all in with the sword spin strats into the muck to take the 1 heart damage. Oh, it's bodied by the eyeball. Fairy, I think, still in play.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ooh, it's another scary moment. Both these players doing their best to make this as exciting as possible.
Oh man, definitely. This hasn't been said yet. Like, follow our runners. Definitely, they've been making this a very entertaining race. It's been so much fun watching this.
PikaPals gets Vitreous down. Only had that one last little heart, or eyeball rather, to deal with. Wrong body part. So no surprise after getting back up from the fairy, was able to finish that fight out cleanly. And probably still has a red potion. Unless KillerApp bought it earlier, I don't remember. But
no, the red potion was a drop, I believe, from one of the bosses.
So like you said, I think KillerApp a little bit more ahead coming out of Mire than coming out of Palace of Darkness because of PikaPals' decision to check that really long key location. And then losing a big chunk of that just through execution and a fairly sloppy Vitreous fight.
Yeah. And if he is familiar with PikaPals' execution, like, he is probably very, very nervous right now, just because, because fights like that will start to worry you about your position in the race, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for how far ahead or behind the players are is a factor, but another factor is just kind of where they're at mentally. I think KillerApp, just based off of the hesitation to pick up the crystal after Vitreous died, I think was maybe taking a moment to lean back or wipe off the sweaty hands or something. But
yeah.
I think there was a moment there, so I hope KillerApp is able to really finish strong here.
He still has a lead at this point, so he's in a good position. He's just gonna have to take a breath and then just kind of take these next bosses as they come.
Well executed in Turtle Rock so far, getting the hook shot over to the left into the rolling pin room. Going to be waiting out the first rolling pin.
Using the hook shot to avoid the damage from the roller.
Big key in the first shield of the seed. Chat reporting a 51... No. Oh, this is what I get for trying to do math on stream. 48-second difference. between the players opening up Turtle Rock. That can easily be changed in some of the encounters here in Turtle Rock and Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, for sure.
Went the wrong way. Should just said about 50. But yeah, you got the gauntlet, and of course, the big key in Ganon's Tower, left or right. It could all come down to that.
And even just encounters in here in Turtle Rock, sometimes if those Pokies get away from you, you can spend an extra few seconds trying to chase them down, so...
We'll see how this first one goes for Pika. Swordspin well positioned to take him out. KillerApp coming up on another one. Fire Rod gonna just toast that thing. And look at the Luigi spray! Look at him!
I've never actually seen that. That's awesome.
That's pretty cute. Pika getting out of the Chain Chomp room, I think mostly unscathed. The players do have the net and bottles, so all the anti-fairies here could be fuel for potential disasters waiting in, say, Ganon's Tower or the Ganon fight.
And I actually just noticed now that KillerApp didn't get too many potions when he was visiting the potion shop. Still having problems with rupees even this far in the seed.
Yeah, PikaPals was doing better on money and opted not to get any potions. So sitting pretty on 600. The rupee count doesn't matter at the end of the day, though. It's all about who gets that Ganon kill first.
For sure.
There's the lovely red boomerang being put to use by KillerApp. Thanks, Hype Cave.
Yeah, that red boomerang doesn't help you get any items, but it can help in those little instances where you just need something to hit those switches outside of the pegs. Getting kind of messed up and lost here in the line of the Samaria lines here.
If you don't know this room, like if you're just used to doing it right every time and not really used to doing it wrong, you can end up getting looped around in all kinds of weird places here. So KillerApp able to correct himself and get going back on the right route, but that was 5-10 seconds that just kind of went away. And that's the kind of thing I was talking about, where how is Killer feeling mentally? I feel like that's the kind of mistake you are more likely to make if you're feeling a little shaky about things.
Yeah, definitely.
Doing a pretty roundabout route to get to that crystal switch, as PikaPals is just finishing up that elevator room in the dark. Basically one room behind KillerApp at this point.
Yeah, they are going to be in the Trinex fight at the same exact time.
KillerApp not switching to Fire Rod before the head exploded, so I had to wait in order to do that. Menu won't open while things are exploding, but otherwise a very clean one cycle. Oh no, getting the 2! As PikaPals enters the fight. Not going to be going for the from behind strats. KillerApp
nice try,
it up.
Second phase though.
Very well done. We'll see how Pika does. Also getting that last second head swipe there. Lining up for the spin. 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Crystal raised on the right side of the screen, and just as it rises off the top, it falls down on the left. That's how close these players are heading into Ganon's Tower.
Which, this is that point in every randomizer tournament match where the chat posts a bunch of numbers in chat. I can explain what those numbers mean. Basically, the big key in Ganon's Tower needs to be found. It's the only thing that will allow them to continue up to get to the boss fight here. And in the first 22 chests or 22 item locations, the big key can be found. So you are guessing what item location you think the big key is going to be in.
Big key. Where's it gonna be? Chat's throwing out a lot of 17s in recognition of the mere 17 seconds separating the racers coming out of Turtle Rock.
Oh, clever.
Me, I'm always a fan of 19. I was pretty close the other day. I'm excited. I want another win. KillerApp's going right.
I'm actually a fan of the Ice Armos room myself, so I'm gonna go with 20 actually.
PikaPals, Switch and Canis Mario also going right, so it's looking like, unless PikaPals stops and does the tile room, I think we're going to be seeing the same route through Ganon's Tower, and it's looking like this is going to come down to good old-fashioned execution.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to be more than likely doing the same route. The only differentiation I could see is if one of them decides, for some reason, to gamble tile room after this right side, but I don't know. Part of me does not see that happening.
So there's 6 locations checked. If you guessed 1 to 6, sorry friends. Play again next time if you guessed 7 to 22. Stay tuned, because you're still in the mix.
Yeah, there's a lot of randomizer matches coming up, so you'll have plenty of time to play this again.
That's true. Today in particular, randomizer happening pretty much all day on either Speed Gaming 1, 2, or 3. In fact, I think if you just stick to Speed Gaming 2, you're always going to get a Link to the Past randomizer. Lots of it happening on 3 as well, happening on Speed Gaming 2 already and concurrent with this one, and a third one about to start on 3. So yeah, tons of Link to the Past randomizer happening all day today. But back to the race at hand. KillerApp having trouble with Stalfos. They are now in the same room.
Oh my gosh. Ooh, the Stalfos.
PikaPal's doing a better job of corralling them. Not letting that one... Oh, it does get away. Okay, gets the chest, but you're going to need to go back for it. Sword Beam canceling out the gold sword damage there. Had to swing twice. So time lost for both players in that room. That's another 5, 6 locations checked, so that's 12 opened, I think?
Yes, I believe that's right.
Oh, they are so close. Pika getting the red boomerang rebound. Can he do it again? This shot is easier to line up with the blue boomerang. It's a reason why some people prefer the boomerang over the red one, but Pika makes it work. That's 13 checked for KillerApp. Red rupee.
Okay, getting ready to go to the rando room next. They call it the rando room because there'd be no reason to go here unless you're playing randomizer.
It's a pretty interesting room as well. These fake switches on the floor, and the one you find just blows open the wall entirely. So I think that's 14, 15!
There it is! 15!
And a magic cape! He'll take it. Especially with the way boss fights have been going for KillerApp, that cape could come up pretty handy in the Ganon fight.
Yeah, definitely.
Chad reporting the difference between the players shrinking on a room-by-room basis. It's got as low as 9 seconds.
Wow, this is going to be such an incredible finish.
It's 14 now. And yeah, they did open the chest in a different order, so 17 also kind of the winner. If you said 15 or 17, congratulations. You win. I'm giving you a thumbs up right now. That's all we can offer you, unfortunately. But congratulations all the same. I'll put the thumbs up in chat. There you go. Congratulations.
Yeah, you enjoy that thumbs up, whoever won.
Oh, they are both on the Cannonball Bridge. They cannot be less than 5 seconds apart at this point.
Yeah, this is going to be so close. And the gauntlet being, could be a big big switch in one player's favor.
Room 1 going better for KillerApp, but going pretty well for both. Room 2, not so good for KillerApp. Had to track down a skeleton with a skull over his head. PikaPals trying to get the snipe with the arrow. Does get it. On to room 3. Killer's already done with room 3.
Ooh, beautiful.
Trying to hide. Wow.
Beautiful room 4 for KillerApp.
Except he's down to 3 hearts. This could be a concern for them. There is a bunny beam coming up they can powder, but it does mess with the Landmolus fight coming up, so a lot of players don't like to do it. Looks like KillerApp is going to opt
for it.
Is PikaPals also done with the gauntlet and has a lot more hearts, so doesn't have to worry about that. Both into the Landmolus fight now. KillerApp not messing around with Fire Rod, or, well, they have no silver arrows, so Fire Rod probably would be the way to go. That's what PikaPals is doing.
And Pika is in the lead now.
Wow, yeah, the one cycle, I wasn't sure if he got it, but he did. Pika officially takes the lead, but KillerApp's still right behind him.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same difference between the two, just with PikaPals ahead now.
Canis and Mario strat successful for both players in the first Wizrobe room. PikaPals in the second one. This one's a lot more trickier. Does get it. Killer as well.
Nice. Good job.
Ooh, deflected on the bridge. Doesn't fall off, though. Oh my god, with the menus, the players are just a second apart.
Wow.
KillerApp, I think there was an intentional fall there.
Okay, KillerApp is back in the lead again, just by very minimal seconds, but he is in the lead once again.
Yeah, the intended fall strat doing it. Sprites not despawned for either player, so no tragic end to this amazingly close race.
Ooh, he's checking for potential silvers right here.
Or maybe just a heart refill, down to 4.
Oh yeah, that's probably another good thing to look for as well.
Found 2 pieces of hearts, but neither was the 4th to refill the health, and that's a little bit unfortunate. Pika is now back in the lead by, again,
Pika
this
back
very
in the lead.
Tiny lead. Very gonna top up KillerApp, so heart's not much of a concern anymore. Does Moldorm have anything to say about the decision of this race? Almost knocked Pika in right away, but Moldorm down for Pika. KillerApp playing pretty aggressive here. Gets one hit, looking for the other. Moldorm comes charging straight at him, which is good news for KillerApp. Moldorm down for both players.
So yeah,
KillerApp! He's validating his run with the chest, but these are seconds you maybe cannot afford to waste in this situation, and it is in this case where I say to you, chat.
Ooh, I love that dodge of that turtle guy.
Chat, you gotta stop. You gotta stop telling people to hit this chest, man. Sometimes it matters. I guess he probably did want silvers. But anyway, PikaPals definitely has a fairly significant lead. Gets a nice double there on the Aghanim fight. One shot going astray for Killer. PikaPals has got him down.
Aghanim is down.
Oh, all 3 shots going astray for Killer. They were all so close, just a little wide. This is going to be good, though. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a nice double there to finish it off.
No silvers here, so the players are going to have to dance with Ganon for a little bit. They have the gold sword, which is good, but you still need a fair amount of spins to finish Ganon off in the final phase.
Yeah, when you're doing silverless, unfortunately, gold sword and tempered sword do the same amount of damage on that last phase, so gonna need 12 spins to finish this off on the final phase.
Health conservation in the first few phases could be a thing. PikaPals, I think, has 1 red potion. KillerApp also has a potion. No fairies, I believe, for either. Firebat phase is done for Pika. That's some of the scariest stuff you have to deal with.
And I believe KillerApp got enough hits as well, so he is also on phase 3.
KillerApp cutting it really close with some of those fire bats, but does get out okay, down to 6 hearts. And KillerApp lands the final hit to start the final phase. Heroes were in the dark world. Who knows? I think Catfish had him. I don't know. Could have been anyone.
Yes. Yeah, we'll go with Catfish.
Here we go. Looking for spins. You need to be patient here. Bait out the fire bat, dodge it, land the spin. You gotta get into the rhythm. You don't want to give up these hits.
Yeah, giving up one hit is taking away precious seconds for the conclusion of this race.
Ganon giving some pretty trolly locations after the torch. There we go. Right next.
Ooh, that's unfortunate. Gets the stun there and not the hit.
That sucks. It's oh no! There it is.
Takes a fall. Oh.
It's all on PikaPals now. It's his. He's got like 8 hits or so. There's not too much left to go. And that's it.
There it is. That's the last hit.
Oh my goodness. How must KillerApp feel seeing the done come in after that? Oh man. That was an amazing finish.
Yeah, that was incredible.
We'll see how KillerApp can rally and finish this out strong now after such a disappointing finish for him. Down to 4 hearts, so yeah, actually.
Oh, and yep, taking the death there.
Up to 7 hearts now. At least when you fall, you're stuck with the same amount of hearts you had before, but when you die, you at least get the half refill.
Gonna need to be careful, though.
So, I'm gonna grab PikaPals and pull him into the room here. PikaPals, my goodness. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Congratulations.
Yeah, GG. That was incredible.
Oh yeah, you maybe don't know at this point, but KillerApp was in the Ganon fight with you. You guys were less than 20 seconds apart the whole way through Ganon's Tower.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible.
That's pretty crazy.
And boy, did you clutch it out. What a great Ganon fight from you at the end there.
Yeah, I haven't done too much Silverless Ganon in V26, I feel, so I'm glad it was still not too bad. I'm not great at those triples, but I can get them every once in a while.
KillerApp has had some struggles with the Ganon fight. Unfortunately, ended up falling. I think you probably would have edged him out by like 15 seconds or so if it had gone well for him. But he just hugged Ganon, so that's going to be another retry for him. But still, this was a great race to watch. The difference, basically, you guys did pretty much everything the same, except you, when you finally got that Dark World access after Aghanim, you went to Pod and he went straight to Village of Outcasts. And then Pod ended up being a big load of nothing, really.
Yeah. Probably would have just been better to, do Pod right after finding that conveniently placed hammer.
That's right. The hammer was that was the big find. We weren't even really paying attention to how close you guys were to go mode, so it was kind of like, oh, the hammer, that's a great find. Wait a minute, like that's kind of all they needed to find, isn't it? There was a question of the boots, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah, like I think right after finishing Thieves Town and finding those mitts, I was like, okay, I need to figure out what I still need for go mode. I need the hammer, the ice rod. oh, there's the ice rod. Okay, I need the hammer.
Yep.
I guess that's it. And the very convenient boots.
Oh yeah, we were talking about how, like, they're mostly go mode. There's still that chance on the torch in Ganon's Tower, and then right away on the route, There's the boots. 100% go mode.
The one chest you're probably going to check in Swamp Palette.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like, that was so close, and like, by the time you found the hammer, KillerApp had already had it, and he was already kind of in that quasi-go mode state, and he was actually in the process of clearing Ice Palace at that point. So when he was done with that, he went in the swamp about the same time you were, and at that point he was a whole dungeon ahead. But then just the simple execution, especially on the bosses, for the rest of the seed was definitely in your favor. Turtle Rock, you were only like seconds behind, and then in Ganon's Tower, the lead seriously changed. Like every fifth room, it seemed like just like different things happen. One player would veer ahead, the other one would be like only like a few seconds behind, and then just that Ganon fight. That Ganon fight is literally what I think decided this, honestly.
Yeah, at least finding that gold sword made Ganon a lot easier. It'd have been fine with tempered, but you know, a little faster.
Yeah, for sure. You want to get through those first two phases as quickly as possible.
So you checked Lumberjack, I think. I think KillerApp might have actually skipped it. But you see it's nothing important. Can't remember, it was like Harpiece or something. But I think Aghanim did end up being required in this seed. So at what point were you starting to think like, oh, maybe I do have to do Aghanim?
Not until like after Easter. Really, my good friend Aghanim gave me the gloves so early that I was really hoping like Eastern would have some gloves so that KillerApp would be suckered into doing Aghanim, but not find the Titan Spits forever. Because that would have been a nice lead.
It's always nice to find ways where misfortune can utterly trap your opponent. But actually, KillerApp found himself in a weird situation early on where he had no bombs. He went to Eastern Palace and couldn't blow open the wall in Sahasrar's hut. He couldn't do Mini Moldorm. Yeah, it was pretty awkward for him.
Yeah, I was glad I had that extra one bomb left so I could farm a few bombs before leaving Kakariko. Because otherwise I probably would have been in that same boat.
Yeah, they really did not give you a lot of money in this seed to start out with.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, you know, I guess Sora could have, like, the hammer or the mitts, but I'm not going to farm 300 rupees for that.
Yep. We were like, you know, there's Aghanim and Zora basically were like the last two things to check, and we were like, probably Aghanim in this situation, but like, what if the solution to the problem was just digging for rupees for a solid 5 minutes or whatever?
Yeah. Meanwhile, KillerApp23 does finish the Ganon fight. Didn't even get the torch glitch in that run, so definitely pulled through and was able to finish.
I wonder. We'll definitely ask to see if KillerApp wants to hop in on the interview. But there were a couple moments, especially towards the end, where he was looking a bit shaky, and he says, "Yeah, he's not in the mood," and I can understand that.
Yeah, I can understand too.
That one really got away from him. He was playing well, and then some of the boss fights were a little shaky. Used his fairy on Cold Stare, had to drink a potion during Vitreous, and there was a couple signs where I started to think like he might be tilted. He might be, and I think he was, and I think it got him in that Ganon fight.
Yeah, I was definitely feeling some nerves too. That death on Vitreous was not great, but I'm glad I still had that fairy from the very beginning.
Yeah, the fairies bailed both you guys out on deaths to bosses that would have cost mountains of time.
Yeah, that's right.
How did you feel where you were versus where KillerApp might be as you were going through, especially once you hit go mode?
I kind of figured it would probably be pretty close. Like, the seed kind of felt like it only had one direction you could go in. So, unless he like skipped out on Pendant Thieves Town for a while, I figured there was not really much that he could have missed.
Yeah, I think that analysis is pretty close because you guys did some things out of order, mostly because the weird lack of bombs at the start put him on kind of a different path at the beginning. But you're right. The seed did kind of demand that you do certain things pretty frequently. So these different paths kept coming back to the same point pretty frequently as you guys went, which made for a good watch because we were constantly like, who's in the lead? Oh, okay, now we know who's in the lead because they've hit this point where they've synced up.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to tell when everyone's going the same way.
For sure. So you are now 3-1?
Yep.
That is an impressive score.
It's really nice.
Yeah. So congratulations on not only a win, but as being one half of a fantastic race. And we wish you all the best in your future tournament endeavors.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
glad it was a really close race, and glad we put on a show.
Yeah, definitely. Good game. Seriously, that was just so much fun to watch.
All right, so that was A Link to the Past Randomizer. We're going to be switching gears here on Speed Gaming, the original. Switching gears, so to speak, because upcoming match is going to be Diddy Kong Racing, which is a game I love to watch and has a fantastic soundtrack, by the way. So if you're looking for something to kind of watch in the background, highly recommend Diddy Kong Racing. That's going to be coming up here, but if you're here for the rando, that's what you're all about. Speed Gaming 2 and Speed Gaming 3 both have rando now, and will continue to do so. Kong, it's also got some Final Fantasy Randomizer coming up, so interesting stuff here on the original. So please stay tuned for all of that. Man, I'm so glad I decided to cast this race.
Yeah, me too. This was so much fun to watch and so much fun to commentate as well.
Oh no, I cut out a few times. Hopefully everything's okay.
Yeah, you did. I thought that was my internet cutting out, so oops.
Yeah, it was just for a little bit, for a few seconds there.
All right, well, hopefully the message still got mostly across. Short version, Diddy Kong Racing here, Link to the Past Randomizer on 2 and 3. I'm Mythical9. Congratulations again to PikaPals. Follow the runners, KillerApp as well, put up a hell of a fight. Links in chat. And thank you so much for commentating with me, Slim Kirby.
No problem. Happy to do so. Yeah, a lot of randomizer coming up for the main tournament, for the secondary tournament. A lot of randomizer coming your way for the next several weeks. So if you enjoyed this, you will always be entertained because we have so many great matches on the horizon.
Couldn't think of a better way to end it. Goodbye, folks.
Goodbye.